we find our nation on a precipice, true tipping point. Is this the moment that will finally change our country? Trying to rain on the thunder. Tell a storm I'm new. I'ma rain on this bitter love. Tell the sweet I'm new.
It's not a broken system. It was built to function exactly as it is.
We must respond with bold action.
This is our country too. We can build new systems that do what they should.
Come a walk, come a march on the regular.
We are united. We are standing.
Follow away.
And we are going to fight this fight.
Freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose. I break chains all by myself.
There is something happening across this country.
When we work and when we fight and when we march and when we speak up and when we offer solutions, we win.
I'ma keep running cause the winner don't quit on themselves.
It's always the right time to celebrate women and Black women in particular.
It is an opportunity to show the nation and the world that we will act. It has been an inspiration.
You have the choice, and it is that choice that gives you power.
Vote. Vote like your life depends on it, because it does.
That is what we need next. Action.
Hello everyone, welcome to Wise-ish. I'm your host, Sister Jenna. It's your time for your power boost, for you to just connect, and reconnect. And today's discussion, I wanted to talk about the importance of disconnecting to reconnect. What's happening right now is we're so connected to technology. I mean, come on, you're even connected to technology right now as you're listening to the sharing of Wise-ish today. But to some extent, can we disconnect to reconnect? And what's the benefit of doing that? Let's just say that you're always connected. And have you ever plugged in your laptop or your cell phone and kept it plugged in for a week or even 2 weeks? And haven't you noticed how the battery actually no longer becomes as useful as it was when you were connecting to disconnect and disconnect to reconnect? Do you remember? I have a phone that no matter how much I charge it and I take it off, the minute I unplug it, it's going to die in about 20 minutes. And my laptop. And the only reason why that has happened is because I left them plugged in for more than 2 or 3 days straight without disconnecting. And in the same way, imagine if we are constantly connected to our human existence. What if we are constantly connected to the human existence of our lives? We are so physically conscious. We are so role conscious. We look at people, we think about people, we talk about people, we look at ourselves in the mirror, and we're never satisfied, and we want more from ourselves, and we never disconnect from seeing images, people, faces, things, events in the screen of the mind. Imagine just how, in a way, useless the battery of the soul has become. Because I haven't disconnected and reconnected with anything that's beyond my human identity or sense of self. So let's look at it one more time. Let's say you go to bed considering yourself to be a woman or a wife or a husband or a man. And the moment you wake up, that consciousness is still in your mind. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a wife, I'm a husband, whatever. And let's just say, even in your dreams, you saw yourself in that state. You saw yourself as a man running in the dream, being chased by wolves, Or as a woman, you saw yourself in the kitchen cooking or working yourself to the corporate ladder and getting to the top and being the first woman to make it to the top CEO of the company. You're still on. You're still connected. You're still plugged in to the human. And the only way you can feel satisfied or feel that you're existing as a human being is to stay plugged in. In other words, to keep thinking of people and faces. Like, for example, you might think about, what do I need to do to tell my boss so I can get a raise? How should I talk to my wife so she listens to me? Maybe you're courting somebody or dating somebody, and you're thinking of what to dress, what to say, where to take them, if there's anywhere to go, or just what to do with that person. But the only thing in your consciousness is the person and what you think they might need from you, or in a way, what you really deep down want from them. Which is why you would strategize and manipulate and do so much to try to win them over. If you show up in that relationship being just the authentic you, if they receive you or not, at least you stay true to yourself. Whenever you perform attitude and behaviors like that, it's like you're disconnecting from the human and reconnecting to the spiritual. So one of the things that I really feel we all are being given an opportunity, perhaps during this pandemic, is to disconnect from the humanness of our existence. The gender, the job, the title, the Zoom, and as much as I don't want to say it, the YouTube, the Facebook, to just be connected to it for a long time, over and over and over again, makes you forget you. Like at some point in time, when do we experience the real version of ourselves? Because the moment you disconnect from the human interpretation that you've been feeding for so many decades, or maybe many lifetimes, you don't know what to do. It's almost as if the battery of the human gets flat and you don't know what to do. When in reality, it is the battery of the soul awareness that always needed charge. And it actually has the energy, it has the information, it has all that's needed for you to live your life fully. But if I've been so plugged in, only depending on another energy, a human being, a material possession, a physical situation, a circumstance, and that's the only way I stay lit, that's the only way I feel like I'm breathing, feeding that body consciousness and that human consciousness eventually ties the real energy of the soul. That's why when some of us hit the bed at night, we hit it really hard because we just can't keep up anymore. We just go flat out. And so in this whole interpretation, are you ready to disconnect so that you can reconnect? So imagine, let's say, if we were actually doing the formula accurately, so to speak. And this is what I was told, that I should never let my iPhone go down to less than 8%. That if I let it go down less than the 8 or 5%, then the battery goes through a wear and tear and it will lose charge quicker. That was one thing that I learned. So if you and I are just serving the human consciousness and we're not serving the soul consciousness, which is where the battery really is, how much charge have I lost and how strong really am I to be able to keep myself going? So I usually am quite mindful not to let my phone go beyond the 5%. And the only reason why sometimes it happens, I'm just in a particular location or in a situation, I don't have anything to charge it. And even when I know it's down to 5 or 3 minutes, 3%, I actually know I'm damaging the battery and the lifespan of this phone. How many of you consider when you let yourself get so exhausted, so morally and spiritually away from your worth and your value, how many of you actually recognize of how much you're taking away from the self and the soul when you don't keep yourself lit and keep yourselves charged enough? Trying to keep the human dimension charged and enlightened is still an energy, and I always use this example. It's kind of like you coming out of your car and pushing your car to get to the next destination. Does that make any sense? None whatsoever. We're supposed to glide through life by having the right attitude, the right consciousness, the right inner state of being. So when we actually disconnect from the body consciousness, then the energy says, well, where do I go now? I don't have an anchor. I don't know where to plug in. And it's at that time the soul decides to reconnect to its original self. So disconnecting from the thoughts of people, places, things, events, circumstances, expectations, desires, and redirecting that thought energy, instead of thinking of it in that way, you start to think of the quality that you are, the power that you are, the divinity that you are, the grace that you embody in your personality as you play your role as a husband, as you play your role as a wife, as you play your role as an American, as an Indian, as a Chinese, whatever it is. Interesting, right? So we have to disconnect from this body conscious pattern and routine that we have used for so long, and use that energy to connect to the original nature of your worth and your power and your light and your might. And do you know why we have to do that? Because until we do it, we will never recognize how powerful we really are. We will think our power is only based on the human dimension, and we will have never gotten the insight or the experience of when I actually serve the spirit, I serve the soul awareness, the soul consciousness. When I serve the original nature of the soul, I'm like Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman. I don't know all these heroes that are out there. There's so much resilience. There is so much clarity. There's so much insight. There's a lot of divinity. There's a lot of faith, trust, love, empathy, wisdom. So when you disconnect from the body consciousness, which can sometimes make you very confused, especially in these times of the pandemic, we don't know who to listen to, what to believe, what to do. When you disconnect from body consciousness and you connect to soul consciousness, you'll know exactly what to do. And you'll know exactly how to be. And it won't even be a question. It won't even be a doubt. You'll be so clear, don't even ask. And things will just start to fall into place. Disconnect to reconnect. It's huge. It's huge. So here's your blessing for today. You are an embodiment of all attainments, and you offer others the experience of peace and power through your vibrations of spiritual inner satisfaction. Beautiful. Love it. Love it. I really love the Wise-ish segment today. Disconnect from body consciousness and reconnect to your soul conscious, your soul awareness. Feel the difference in that. If you keep feeding your human dimension, you'll get weaker spiritually. If you disconnect from the human and begin to invest in the spiritual, you will bring the power of your spiritual into your human. Simple formula. Thank you for joining us on Wise-ish today. Remember, no one can take away your happiness unless you give them permission. And we really are here to love each other the same. Take care. Don't forget to tune into America Meditating Podcast. And maybe also watch our next normal, which is Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 7:30 on the Meditation Museum YouTube and Facebook. Take very good care. And don't forget to go out and vote. Our life matters. With this one, our life depends on it. So go out and vote. Take care and be safe, everyone.